mid-range Max's deck because he's playing the Blade Splicer Restoration Angel version, but he is also actually still playing Delver of Secrets in his deck.
Max is wearing a shirt that has a chimpanzee on it. A lucky monkey.
Alright.
I'm not sure.
Lauren will be on the play this game as Max was victorious in game 2.
Now, interesting fact about Magic tournaments, see, in the Magic world, cargo shorts are actually very efficient because
They're very good at carrying deck boxes.
Yeah, exactly. It's funny, they're harder to find now than they used to be.
That's true.
It used to be impossible to find shorts that didn't have
Cargo
pockets, which the deck box holders, as I like to call them.
Sure.
And, you know, times have changed, but just looking behind Lauren Nolen and I'm looking at the pockets full of decks. I'm thinking about how many times I've been in a room
that guy
with cargo shirts on with 2 to 3 decks in the pockets and
absolutely.
The belt on extra tight. Lauren Nolen going to be on the play here. Max Tietze was the victor in game 2.
So going over just some of the different numbers in here, both players in their main deck have the Forge Ataxian Probes, 1 Gut Shot, which are presumably left in, and 2 Dismember, 2 Sword of War and Peace. Lauren Nolen does have 2 Thought Scours to 1 Thought Scour for Max Tietze. Outside of that, we had differences in numbers of mana leaks, which have probably been resolved now that they've boarded. The biggest thing is so when you're doing this control match, you have to think of what their big cards are. As I said before, Max's big cards are 1 Gideon Jura, 2 Tameo the Moonsage, 1 Consecrated Sphinx, 1 Sun Titan. He does have 3 Phantasmal Image, but the other side does as well. The big cards... Go ahead.
Yeah, the big cards for Lauren Nolen are Tameo the Moonsage, Consecrated Sphinx, and a Sun Titan. So, only one-offs.
Right.
Max
he also has 2
bigger.
Blade Splicers, so he may bring in his own Blade Splicers to complement his Geist of St. Drafts. But because Max has more bigger things, I guess I do like... Max is probably a little bit of an advantage here, but really it's all going to be about the play of the hand, basically the play of the game. This is actually one of my favorite matchups to be playing. Playing Delver quite a bit on Moto recently, and I've been really, really happy with with playing this matchup. So sure.
After this game, we're gonna toss over to Ruben really quick. He's over on the sideboard with Brian Braun-Duin to talk to him about his match against Michael Hetrick.
All right, so Lauren Nolen on the play. The hand he has appears to be Blades. Mana Leak, Blades. That is a Mana Leak, right?
Is it?
There's the sword. It's a sword. So Island let off. He has Island. He has a Restoration Angel. He has a sword. He has a Thought Scour. I believe probably a Geist of St. Traft and some set of lands. So start out with a Island. Debating whether to Thought Scour probably main phase. If you scoured into a Jataxian Probe, that would matter. Otherwise, you would want to hang on to it here. So pass. Max Tietze plays Island.
Pays for a Jataxian Probe.
Pays for a Jataxian Probe. It's interesting. Typically, it's not something that's not paid for. So, okay.
But perhaps Max sided out his Delvers.
So over on Lauren's side, we have Moorland Haunt, 2 Caverns, Sword, Restoration Angel, Thought Scour. A little bit of a weaker hand for Lauren Nolen, actually. So Geist of St. Trapped into the yard, and with an island, and he's going to draw, would appear to be another land. And then another land. So, remember, any land past the 5th in this matchup is fairly weak. Lauren's hand, I would say, is pretty underpowered at this point. Yeah, he has a sword, an angel, and then a bucket of lands. Now he will have something to equip the sword to. He is threatening he will haunt the Geist of St. Traft. So Max knows he kind of has an opening to resolve some cards. Granted, not, most of the business cards are at 3, so he's going to, you know, he probably at this point will hope to set up a Delver or some sort of deck manipulation. If
Seems reasonable enough. I mean,
he's worried about Sword resolving. Sword resolving is something.
I think he may have taken out his Delvers. He paid for a Taxian Probe on turn 1.
Sure.
I don't think.
And he's going to snap the Jataxian Probe, and he'll see that's actually just all blanks there. But Max is content letting the Sword of War and Peace resolve. So he's going to try to fight it on a different angle. He just needs to make sure that he doesn't lose to the Sword Angel link up. Presumably he has a Dismember or something of the sort, but the Sword. Yeah, neither player, by the way, with Divine Offering in their sideboard. Max does have 2 Oblivion Rings, which he may or may not have brought in. Max still not having a white mana at this point in play.
I believe he does have one in hand, though.
Okay.
So, I mean, he's not quite screwed, just...
And another land drawn for Loren. I mean, all it's going to take right now is, well, just a way, if Max has a way to deal with the Sword, you know, say 1 Oblivion Ring and Loren's really in a hole here.
So
and he's going to pass the turn. He's opting to Haunt instead of making a Sword there.
That's interesting, considering that's a good opportunity to resolve the Sword while Max is tapped out.
I mean, he maybe used to assume he is figuring that there's not much counter magic left in Max's deck, which is a fairly safe assumption that Sword is a whenever you'd like it card.
It's very reasonable. So, Max with a fistful of options here. Could go with a Blade Splicer. Perhaps he wants to be more conservative and play some cantrips.
At this point, Max probably wants to push some damage. The bigger issue is he has to make sure that he has a way to deal with Restoration Angel. If all his sets are blanked by Restoration Angel, that's a little bit of a problem. So we'll start out by swinging 2 with the Snapcaster Mage, which he's offering to trade it with a Moreland Hog token, which Nolen will take him up on. Which is, I'm not sure I actually like that block there. I'm a little, if I'm in Loren's situation, I'm a little concerned about preserving an equip for my Sword of War and Peace.
Yeah, now he's leaning really hard on that Angel.
Right.
So, I mean, if Max decides to play Blade Splicer here, and then Loren uses his Angel to block the Blade Splicer token the next turn, Max can just kill it with a Gut Shot. So I don't think Loren will make that play, but, I mean...
You have to worry about things like Gut Shot, then Snap Gut Shot for the token, and having Sword be a blank.
Yeah, so Max really mulling over this decision here. I mean, post-board, they have very similar decks. Max does have a bit more of a top end than Loren does.
Alright. Glacial Fortress will come down, and Blade Splicer.
So,
please come to the
and
stage.
4 points of power on the table for Max. And Loren drawing a Snapcaster Mage, that's a pretty nice draw step for him. And Loren could have a Sword on the table by now.
Cavern Souls will come down, naming Angel.
Legacy Open Players,
And he'll pass.
That's the end of round 2. Legacy Open Players, that's the end of round 2. Active player, finish your turn. Begin your 5-turn extension.
The question is, does Max have one of his 2 Dismembers right now? The answer is probably not, so we'll start with Pondering. Now Resolve.
Right, so looking at this ponder, he has access to a Blade Splicer, and I think he's going to shuffle this away.
Max does have the gut shot here, but his bigger worry is just a Restoration Angel and then untap and sorting it.
And he knows that's a distinct possibility. If he doesn't have a Dismember or a... I'm sorry, does he have...
He has 2 Oblivion Rings for the actual sword itself, but I don't know if they're in the deck at the moment.
He also has Negate, I suppose, but I doubt that came in. Highly.
Yeah, I would imagine it didn't. Alright.
So, Max looking like he's actually going to end up keeping these. It's untimed. Yeah. Max seemingly taking advantage of the no timer. Deciding what the best line of play is, making sure when there is no clock, that he just wants to make sure that he's making the absolute correct play.
Now you have to be careful about that. Even in an untimed match, you can get caught. You can start accruing slow play penalties.
Yes, and it's important to maintain a proper pace of play, and it's important to the tournament's progression, and it's also just a matter of being fair to your opponent.
Everything on their table is $5 off.
So Max will swing the 3/3 Golem, clearly representing his gut shot. I can't imagine Loren will call here. I have to think he'll take 3. He's at 20 and is threatening Angel Sword, which seems just far better than anything Max has amassed.
But by swinging there, and the fact that he thought about it for so long, Loren may try to call a bluff here.
Draft open number 2.
So he's going to snapcast a Thought Scour. I don't really understand that play as much.
Yeah, and by taking his time and kind of making Loren sweat it a bit, Max has gotten Loren to
another
make
creature
a
from
relatively
Loren.
suboptimal play here.
Geist of St. Traft comes into Loren's hand off the Thought Scour, which is a fairly good draw, to be sure. But yeah, I think... Yeah, but at this point in the game, I almost feel like the flyer is just a better threat. The answer to Angel Sword that most people will have is the one Consecrated Sphinx in his deck, or a Tamiyo the Moon Sage. So Max will then post-combat make another pair of Splicer and Golem.
Yep, so another 4 points of power on the table for Max here. And Loren, the sword play, no longer really live for him. Now
Well, I think Sword wants, what it looks like Loren wants is the maximum value he can get off the Snapcaster. He doesn't really want to Angel until he can use Snapcaster off the Angel.
And he's just about there now.
Cavern, I believe, set to Angel, not to Spirit, meaning he has an untapped Glacial Fortress, so he'll be fine to cast Geist of St. Traft this turn.
He'll probably ponder and Geist this turn, giving himself the chance to play Restoration Angel, bouncing to the Snapcaster
Great
mage.
top of his deck. It has a Phantasmal Image and a Divine Offering in it.
Oh wow, that's incredible.
It's very good.
That's precisely what he needed.
Yep. It'll give him the life gain to not... with his hand, Blade Splicer's not going to interact on a very meaningful level with him. He needs to just make sure that his life total stays in a healthy range. Divine Offering will do an excellent job of that. Well, actually, sorry, I'll pause the reviews. Okay, it won't gain him any life, but it will do a excellent job of killing a golem.
Yes, the Golem does have a converted mana cost of 0.
Right.
getting that extra 3 off the board. Quite good here.
Still resolving Ponder.
Players in draft weapon number 2.
Yeah, we're resolving this Ponder, deciding
For the draft,
what order to put these back in.
Blue paper. On the draft preparing board, here's the feature
These players
list.
really taking their time
And
a lot.
Number 2 CDs have for the draft.
So, plays Glacial Fortress for the turn. And I believe we're going to see a Geist of St. Traft come down here. Other options would be to see Phantasmal Image on Blade Splicer, followed by enough mana for another play. Followed by maybe a Divine Offering. Something else you could see. Though if I'm Lauren Nolen, I really want to get... I guess he's going to wait the Angel until he can go Angel, Snap, Ponder.
Yeah, I think that's his plan here. Because this turning,
When you really, if you really are digging in for the long game, that's not a bad plan at all.
No, it's not a bad plan. Like, just getting the maximum value out of every single one of your cards is what you want to be doing.
So Geist of St. Traft comes down for Lauren Nolen. It's legendary, but remember, Max Tietze doesn't have... The best removal spell in the mirror for Geist of St. Traft is... The only removal spells are Phantasmal Image and Geist of St. Traft. Remember, Max doesn't have Geist of St. Traft. What he does have is he has 6 power of colorless creatures with first strike on the battlefield, which should hold off a sword play for a while.
In Max here, he's going to need to get pretty aggressive because it's kind of clear what Lauren is trying to do. He knows Lauren has the Angel. Now he knows that Lauren has the Ponder in the graveyard. What Max probably wants to do here is Phantasmal Image to take the Geist off the table, fresh with everything.
Right, he's going to have to get aggressive.
And then play another Blade Splicer.
The thing he knows is that Max has a sword, Max has an Angel, Lauren has a sword, Lauren has an Angel, and Lauren's the only one with a Moorland Taunt. So the late game has to be very unappealing for Max Tietze right now. Seeing that crash in for 8, putting Lauren Nolen down to 9. That'll really help in giving, third Blade Splicer as the battlefield. Alright, well, Max is just going to continue to play 4/4s here, and it's going to really... Now I feel like there's a little bit of education in this. I'm wondering what would have happened if Lauren had just gone straight for the Angel Sword combo.
Yeah, I mean, it would have gained him a lot of life.
It was very hard to raise Sword of War and Peace. It's interesting. Sometimes you do need to play all your cards at maximum value, especially in a back and forth game. This game hasn't really been a back and forth game. It's been 2 players operating on different axes, so it's possible that Lauren didn't want to engage in a ground out battle. Blade Splicer is very good at just, if the game is attack and attack back, Blade Splicer is an excellent card at doing that. So he's going to Divine Offering, Phantasmal Image, the Ponder.
Phantasmal Image,
a Snapcast. Oh, he's giving me a Golem token. So the Blade Splicer.
Makes sense.
And pass the turn. So he's setting up, he's going to either Moorland Haunt or play Divine Offering here. Or possibly Restoration Angel, though I am doubtful of that, because he doesn't have a 0 mana card in the yard. Ponder from Max. He would love to find a Vapor Snag here.
That would be perfect. What he really wants is Vapor Snag, perhaps Ponder into Vapor Snag. Any cantrip into Vapor Snag is basically perfect.
Right.
Or
even Dismember would be great.
Dismember. Sort of War and Peace, also not that bad here. Not the greatest here. Lauren does have. I guess Vapor Snag is really what he's.
Yeah, Vapor Snag's got to be the card he's looking for. He probably would take a Restoration Angel too.
Or Snapcaster Mage.
Well, you'd always take a Snapcaster Mage in Telfer.
I'll take a Snapcaster
That's true. Yes,
Mage.
okay. If I could pick my draws, I would pick Snapcaster Mage an inordinate amount of the time.
Probably over 50% of the time.
Yeah. Well, it depends. Once I'd Snapcaster Maged all the instant sorceries in my yard, then I'd start picking Ponder, and then I'd go back to picking Snapcaster Mage.
Max with a formidable force on the ground here, but
He's probably just swinging everything.
wouldn't surprise me.
And then end-step Restoration Angeling something. Maybe not even end-stepping it. So remember, we have
Max cutting it all out.
previous Invitational winner Jerry Thompson already through to the semifinals, so Max is just going to go with the 3 Golems instead of the Blade Splicers.
Fine play there.
Restoration Angel will come down for Lauren Nolen, which Max knew about. Remember, Max still has a gut shot here, so no big worry. I think what he was really hoping to see happen was a play where Golems attempted to trade, and now he could gut shot the Phantasmal Image, therefore giving his Golem. Like, if he has a Snapcaster here, he's going to completely blow out Lauren.
Legacy Open players, your round
You know he has the
two
gut
barriers
shot.
have been posted. Legacy Open players,
So the gut
your
shot, he can
round two
either-
barriers have been posted.
Yeah, so he'll gut shot the Restoration Angel, which is definitely the correct play. He can't have Sword linking up onto it, even now. That'll put Max down to 16. And okay, things can trade. Lauren will drop to 3 life. And by getting the Restoration Angel out of the play, Max has cleared the way for his own Restoration Angel, which he will probably want to main phase here while Lauren's tapped out. But he's not going to.
Oh, he has his own restoration.
I think so. I believe so. If he does have it, I would have main phased it.
I mean, he knows that Lauren's list only has 2 mana leaks, probably assuming that Lauren takes those out in the mirror.
Yeah, but there's no advantage to be gained. There's no sorcery card that's... I don't know. I don't see the value in really waiting on it.
I mean, it like increases or decreases like the value of cards when your opponent's pondering, and
Like right now, I guess Lauren does have a... The card is Dismember, but I mean, Lauren's at 6 and can't actually keep a Dismember and keep a straight face.
yeah. But I mean, he's
Yeah.
gonna need that dismember here.
He is. Lauren's actually just in a very tough situation here. The best thing, I guess, what Max is doing, maybe is hoping that Lauren will go for a sword and equip with Snapcaster, and then Max will be able to flash and have a colorless blocker. I mean, the game will be over. If Lauren decides to go that route, then Max will just completely beat him.
Max will just kill them all at once. The thing is, I mean, if
So Lauren Nolen has drawn his own Restoration Angel. Again.
these games, very intense.
This one, I think, pretty firmly in Max's control. I'm going to expect him to get this one. I just don't
Max
see...
played this game really well.
I just don't see...
I thought Lauren had this game when he was going to link up that Restoration Angel
with the sword. I agree. Max taking advantage of those, though, and just continuing to make Blade Splicers.
Lauren?
A rather half-hearted bluff there by Lauren.
Yeah.
Okay, sure, blocked. And now he has the Snapcaster, and he'll snap a Ponder. If on end step Max does have the Restoration Angel, Lauren's going to have to make some blocks he really doesn't want to make.
Alright, so passing the turn after that Restoration Angel. Let's see what Max has here.
Apparently Max doesn't have the Angel. I mean, I think we would have seen an Angel there.
Yeah, he
Legacy
definitely...
Open players, welcome to round number 3. You have 50 minutes. You may begin. Good luck.
There's a Snapcaster in there, along with a Gut Shot and a land, I believe.
Let's just land more land hot.
Oh, it's land more. Let's okay. So the question is, how bad do you want a Snapcaster Mage?
I don't know if you want it that bad. I don't know if you want it 2 lands bad. When you've got
Close.
6 lands in play.
One's a Moorland Haunt. That's a pretty awesome land right now, actually.
Oh, one is a more.
You need to make sure. The problem is that Sword of War and Peace is still a very real card here. So he's going to draw the Snapcaster Mage, decide he's okay with it.
Alright, Max, doing all the math he needs to do.
Yeah, Max is just going to have to make sure he ends the game quicker. Like I said, if the sword links up, this is going to get out of his control. He does not have the biggest thing around, which is the sword. With the ability to snap the gut shot, he can attack almost at free will here. Almost at will, yeah. So if he swings everything, I guess the block he'd be worried about would be if Loren double chumps golems and then eats a blade splicer and untaps and links up a sword, but I believe he's okay with that. I think the all-out swing is the correct play. I actually kind of like the all-out swing last turn as well, as opposed to just the swing of the golems.
It's very reasonable. The all-out swing last turn, not as safe as the all-out swing this turn, but you're right, it was probably correct. It puts Loren in a much more difficult position. He would be at 4 right now.
So instead, he's going to snap a Ponder. Finding more cards is good. I'm a little worried that by doing that... Okay, and he's found his own Sword of War and Peace. That is a very strong draw. It does mean he's... Now, this is the interesting part where Ponder becomes one of those somewhat frustrating cards. So you might have the sword, but as your punishment, you shall draw lands on your next 2 turns. And the question is, well, how good is Sword? In this board state, I think that's still what he wants.
I would have to agree with you.
He also has, I believe, is that a timely reinforcements? Okay, he has 3rd land down right now. His remaining card is Sword of War and Peace and an unknown. He's just going to pass the turn.
So no sword coming down here for Max right now. Loren still with his own sword in hand. Draws a Phantasmal Image. Very nice draw step for Loren.
Right, Phantasmal Image. Copying a number of things. The best he doesn't have any good insts. He has a Ponder left in his graveyard. So Image could at the very worst copy that. He's going to just pay to Jitaxian Probe Max. It's timely, yeah, it is timely enforcements and Sword of War and Peace. So timely enforcements is a card which neither of us, you thought he might board in, I thought he might not board in. I think the comment I made, which I mean, obviously this is a unique board state, was that it's a little awkward with Blade Splicer. It turns out it is pretty awkward here, but I mean, it's probably still a correct board in the matchup. The more I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a card that I've always liked when I've played Delver. So
yeah, it's interesting. I do play Delver a bunch online. I have timelies, and I typically do not board them in the mirror, but I have boarded them more so when I played against the Cavern style builds. I've started to board them in simply because I don't play. I used to shave some mana leaks, and now I'm cutting all of them. And Loren gonna start the life racing wars.
The sword hits for 5, 6, 7.
And the bigger news is that Loren has a larger hand than Max.
So Loren's gonna take 4 here, or gain 4.
Yeah, he'll gain 4. If both swords compete, then that'll be fine. Max does have a Moorland. That is, I believe, a Moorland Haunt he's drawn. I can't help but think that Loren has somehow snuck back into this game. So we're getting to that point of the game with that Angel Sword that we were so worried about, and Loren taking his time to get to it, but he did eventually get to Angel Sword and showing just how powerful that interaction is.
Yeah, and I mean, the manner in which he did it was just about perfect.
Yeah.
He set it up so that
interestingly,
Max couldn't answer
he's putting the sword onto a Golem token. I kind of expected to see it on a different creature.
Yeah, I mean, if he puts it on the Golem token can just get Vapor Snagged and knocked out.
Well, it's more that Loren will, if you put it, will have to block whatever creature the sword is on. And I guess I would have liked to have seen that it's a Cavern of Souls, not a Moorland Haunt. And so you want to maximize the damage that's going through. So by putting on something that's not the Golem, you probably are doing that. Max out a lower life total will cast Timely Reinforcements as a mana gain spell. Okay, so actually maybe he hasn't equipped it yet. And yeah, he's going to equip it to a Blade Splicer, I believe, which is, I believe is correct. Excellent. Yeah, despite no cards in hand, Max has named Sphinx with his Cavern of Souls.
I appreciate that.
I like that. We were talking earlier about possible trolls to do with that play. You know, how
yesterday we saw somebody named Turtle.
My question is, could you tell your opponent if you played Cavern of Souls right here and you said Praetor? What reaction would you get from your opponent? Oh, like, oh man, is Elish Norn in this deck?
Is this about to happen? I mean, on top it doesn't work because they've seen your deck list.
So they'd be like, no, you're just a fool. Stop it.
In the Swiss.
Definitely.
I mean, you can name Praetor with your Cavern of Souls all day.
Right.
For Stormcrow. We'll get that countered.
Okay, so the blocks are going to be, he's going to trade with the Snapcaster, he's going to not let the sword connect, and he's going to take 6 from the 2 golems. The question here is, if he's committed to chump blocking, would you trade with, is it better off to trade with a Snapcaster there, or to wait and chump block next turn again on the sworded creature?
Huh.
The worry is that Lauren's actually not gaining life fast enough.
Yeah, I mean, he only has 4 cards in hand, and he's, taking these huge hits.
Now he doesn't have a creature to toss the sword over to on the blocks, which is a little awkward for him.
Or now 5 cards in hand, so he's going to jump it to 15.
Remember, Lauren does have the Divine Offering in hand, so that's definitely, which he still has not used. That definitely has something to do with it. Yep, Max was up. So Phantasmal Image will copy Blade Splicer. I like Lauren in this matchup to pull it through. The Angel Sword combo, Max never really had an answer for it. You know, Lauren chose not to just go straight for it. He kind of built his way up to it, but I believe whether it was early or whether it was late, Max is unable to find an answer to Angel Sword.
Yeah, and Lauren was able to find his One of Divine Offering. Very important here.
Remember, Max, we know, is drawing a land here. He knew he was drawing a land when he got the sword. That was the price he was paying for the sword, that he would be getting a land here. He'd be very disappointed when when this doesn't work out.
So
we check. I believe Max is at 10 right now, if I'm not mistaken.
After that hit, yes.
Yeah, I believe it's 10 and 10. I believe are the life totals.
Top 10 and 10 here.
We'll get a confirmation on that in a second for you.
All right, and Max ready to head into the red zone right now.
All right, Wave of Singers, come on, let's bring it. Everything's in. Here's the unpleasant surprise which Lauren has in store. Lauren's plays are more to haunt a soul, and haunt a spirit, and then more land haunt up. Sure, this card.
Makes spirit. And Lauren going to have to chump this golem here.
It's not chump, but that's the joke, because it's not. Yawn, I'm going to have to chump in quotes here. Remember, there's the Divine Offering coming.
Yes, the Divine Offering will take care of the sword.
Yeah, so then the golems will trade. And Lauren gaining 3 off the Divine Offering, a very solid play. Yeah, he points out, just to be sure, yes, no, I'm killing the sword, not the golem.
Mm-hmm.
Lauren will jump up to 10 life there. We'll see a trade. Bunch of trade. The image will die. Placer will trade with Lingering Souls token, and Lauren will drop to 8. Lauren just needs to make sure that his life total stays high enough that he doesn't die in the counterswing. He's definitely in that area. Max has a land. He has only 1 more live draw to really do anything in this game. But remember, Cavern of Souls is naming Sphinx.
Yeah,
so if he draws Sphinx,
Consecrated Sphinx.
and Sphinx can conveniently block a 5/6 flying pro white.
Very conveniently.
Yeah,
one of the reasons why it's so good.
It would be the draw here.
Restoration Angel carrying Sword of War and Peace is something that, in the mirror, that's pretty much unbeatable. But if you have a Consecrated Sphinx,
it's no longer unbeatable.
Not even close. Not only do you have something that can block it all day, but you're also having twice as much fun as your opponent.
Right. They're not having any fun.
Yeah, we've already established that.
Passes the turn, Max draws a card. Does it save him? Think. Lauren played nothing that turn to maximize his life gain. Max will swing for 5. Now, if he drew Vapor Snag, that could possibly get hit for him, too.
Coming in here for...
Max is at 11. I believe we have our life totals the other way around. I think it's Max at 5, Lauren at 11. He's going to haunt up a Spirit. Spirit's going to trade with Blade Splicer. Probably trade with Blade Splicer. Lauren taking 4, and I believe that will drop him down to 7. There we go. Max had a very small 5 life heart. And Snapcaster Mage will Divine Offering that other token. I didn't like that Snapcaster play at all there, actually. That seemed a little too hasty. There's actually not. Alright, Max will concede though.
Yep.
Lauren Nolen up 2 games to 1.
Yeah. Max, not much of a chance in that one toward the end. But when the Restoration Angel got... Once Lauren had the sword and the Restoration Angel in hand, it was just too much. Yeah. Now, Lauren, going to take a quick break here in between games. We're going to head over to the sideboard with Ruben Bressler in just a moment with BBD. Oh, okay. Never mind. We don't have him over there right now.
We're not going to head. We're not going to head over there.
Not going to head over there. So we can talk about this.
BBD didn't win his match. We're not going to talk with him.
Yeah.
No, it's not true at all.
Yeah. But Lauren Nolen had a few questionable plays there, but the power of Restoration Angel in conjunction with Sword of War and Peace, when you're able to destroy your opponent's Sword of War and Peace, just a huge advantage.
Mm-hmm.
Lauren, here, the taking a break after you win a game in the top 8. I hope this doesn't become something that people just do all the time.
Right.
Right, because it's something that John Finkel did at a Pro Tour a few years ago, and then since then, a lot of people have tried to do this because they think it's the cool thing to do.
It's going to tilt your opponent. Oh, let them sit there and stew in their loss.
Yeah.
Okay.
But, I mean,
it's like icing the kicker. It's like the trend.
Icing the kicker.
Icing the kicker. Yeah, it became really popular in college football now. For a big field goal, the other team would call a timeout. They'd let you line up, wait until you're about to hike the ball, and they'd call a timeout. And then you have to sit there, your kicker's all lined up. Instead of ready to kick, you have to sit there for 30 seconds waiting for the timeout to be done. And it's a strategy they would do to get inside the kicker's head. And when you watch college football, it's more just really annoying. Oh, okay. Wait 30 more seconds for this play. Cool.
The kicker.
Yeah. All right, so we do own the sideboard, though. Brad Brandun was playing a deck designed by Brad Nelson. So we're going to throw it over to you, getting the same feature, but Brad Nelson is going to talk with you about that. So we'll return a few with Game 4 of Max Tietze versus Lauren Nolen. See you in a few.
Hello, I'm Ruben Bressler, and I'm in the sideboard with Draft Open Top 8 competitor, Brad Nelson. You've won a Draft Open before?
Yes.
So it's not, when I said that you hadn't top 8'd at Star City Open, I sort of lied.
You're just a jerk.
I was just a jerk. I don't actually apologize. But if I were a nice guy, I'd apologize. Brad's here. Yep. So the Frights deck that you helped design, you were the driving force behind, top 8'd the standard portion of the Invitational.
Yep.
Unfortunately, BBD dropped 3 games to 2 to Michael Hetrick in 5 games. So talk to me a little bit about the Rug Pod Frights matchup.
In theory, it was really good. Hetrick played very aggressive, which we thought he was going to do, because there's no way you have inevitability. So you just have to race them because you can't grind. He played tight. He made a lot of correct decisions, and the deck stumbles sometimes. Frights' worst opponent is itself.
Yeah.
So BBD stumbled, didn't hit the right mulches, didn't hit the right Faithless Lootings, and ended up losing. I don't know. It's kind of sucks that it went that way because I felt like it was one of the best matches.
Yeah. So I think that it was unfortunate that it lost here. However, people can play it at their own tournaments in the future, at your FNM, at your Open. What do you think about the future of Solar Frights?
I think when it's good, it's great. I think it'll get a little hated. Curse of Death's Hold is one of the worst cards against it, and it's not being played right now. If Solar Flare starts adapting that to beat the matchup, then it gets more miserable. Graveyard Hate's bad. So I think right now it's fine. I think it'll be good for a couple more weeks if the metagame shifts at all. But I think people are just going to ignore it, so it'll still be good.
Yeah, it's very good against Delver.
Yes.
Right? And
yeah.
so
get your playtesting in, though. It's
yes.
a difficult matchup. You have to know how to sequence your spells.
But as you said, it is one of the its main opponent, or its biggest opponent, is itself. I was standing behind BBD for some of the matches. He had some really awkward mana situations where he had like a Shimmering Grotto and a Blackcleave Cliffs with a bunch of spells, and that can be very awkward when you have a bunch of these mana guys and no green mana on early turns. Your Faithless Lootings can often just hit a bunch of lands. Yeah. It does happen sometimes.
Yeah, when it's going great, it's awesome.
Yes.
And like you mulch into 3 lands and an Unveil Rites, you Faithless Looting your Elvish Norn, discard 2 of those lands. I mulliganed to 5 on the draw against Delver in round 2 of the Invitational, and I was saying go on turn 4 with 7 cards in hand, and I had all the action in the world. It's such a fun deck. Like, it's good and it's fun. It's just like this perfect mix for like a format that's so stale, and it's just Delver on Delver, kill your artifact, do this. Like, you just get to have fun. So I mean, Hetrick's an awesome Magic player. I've known him for years. His deck looks great. Like, I think even Shaheen's like, I don't get behind Shaheen very often with his deck choices, but it looks like a really fun Solar Flare deck, and these decks are good. Like, I liked all these good players that got to the top 8 with these like interesting builds that do have a chance against Delver. So Frights is by far the most fun of all of them.
Sure. Now let's talk about Michael Hetrick for a second. In the booth, Jacob Van Lunen said that Michael Hetrick, who's Ship at Holla on Magic Online, reminded him of you circa 2008, 2009, before you sort of stopped being FF Freak and became Brad Nelson, because he's sort of Ship at Holla right now, and might soon become Michael Hetrick.
He's already Michael Hetrick. People at home might not know his name. We all know him. We all know he's a great Magic player. He's one of the people that runs in the circles with all the professional Magic players, and we all respect him above a lot of people that you guys at home consider pros. Like, he's an amazing player. He plays all the time. He's one of those players that is grinding 60 hours a week, playing Moto, playing with his friends, winning every single PTQ season. He just hasn't figured out how to move that to competitive Magic to Pro Tours, because you have to test a different way.
Right.
You're grinding a known format compared to inventing something for a metagame you don't even know what it's going to be. Like, you don't want to be 3 steps ahead of everyone and break the format, but it's too far advanced, you know? Like, which matchups you have to play and things like that. Like, Naya was a great choice at the last Pro Tour, but without any Boris in the field, it wasn't a great choice, for example. But Michael Hetrick is testing with the Minnesotans, and I think he's about to just rise.
One last quick question. I see you have some swamps here for your draft open.
Islands, and I am.
Do you have any Homicidal Seclusions?
0.
Oh man!
I'm amassing all the components.
Wow. Those are some components, and a Moonsilver Spear.
I have a very terrible blue-black control deck. I've got some removal,
1 good card, and 3 master components.
Yes, and we got some Blood Artists. And it's
multiple Blood Artists, multiple Bone Splinters.
We got a
lots of elimination.
I mean, some card advantage.
You're a big proponent of black in draft, because you think if there's only one black drafter at the table, it's very easy to take advantage of that.
Yep. So, and that's I think I was the only black drafter.
Has that stayed the same through the evolution of Avacyn Restored Draft?
I mean, I'm playing 5 blue cards and 18 black cards. So.
All right. Well, Brad Nelson, thank you for joining us.
Wish me luck.
Good luck, sir.
Thank you.
Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Even though you said I was a jerk.
But you kind of are.
No comment. Back to Jacob and Matthias in the booth.
Kidding.
On June 23rd and 24th, the StarCityGames.com Open Series comes to Detroit, Michigan, and this event is going to be huge. We're talking hundreds of players, a standard open with $10,000 in prizes paid down to 64th place, a legacy open with $10,000 in prizes paid down to 64th place, at least 16 players qualifying for any SCG Invitational in 2012, live coverage all weekend long courtesy of SCG Live, and as much Magic the Gathering as we can pack into one weekend. So make plans to join us when StarCityGames.com Open Series comes to Detroit, and we'll see you there.
Hello and welcome back, everybody. I'm Jacob Van Lunen, being joined by Matthias Hunt. and we are here in Indianapolis, Indiana, bringing you coverage of the Star City Games Invitational. Right now, we're covering the quarterfinals still. It's been going on for 2 hours now. We're just going into Game 4 between Max Tietze, the defending Invitational champion. He's battling against Nolen, and they're playing a blue-white Delver Mirror. Max is going to be on the play this game. And
down 2 games to 1. Lauren with a little more of the aggressor role in this matchup. Remember, he is probably on 6 3-drops. He has 2 Blade Splicers, 4 Geister St. Traps. Max Tietze not playing Geister St. Traps at all in his deck, which in this has been probably great for him against green decks. In this matchup does give Lauren a little bit of free reign on Geister St. Traps because the Max Tietze with very few cards that actually answer it.
Very true. I mean, I imagine Max has sided out the Delvers now, too.
Yep.
After watching that whole last game where he hasn't seen one.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I mean, Delver, it's interesting. In the Delver Mirrors, Delvers have started to become sided out due to the presence of Restoration Angel. Really, Max is just going bigger. He's playing Gideon Jura, Consecrated Sphinx, Sun Titan, Tameo. So both players starting out on Glacial Fortress. Max turn 2, pondering off Glacial Fortress, and then playing Island, passing the turn. Yeah, typically you would see something like a Delver in one of those plays where he's still having his Delvers in.
Alright, now, see, is Lauren going to go ahead and play this Delver? He is. Okay, so Lauren still has his Delvers in. Lauren has 2 sort of War and Peace in hand.
And that equipment really has been, really won Lauren last game all by itself.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see if it can do it again. Max with very few answers to Sword of War and Peace.
Yeah, post-board, I mean, he has 2 Oblivion Rings, but that's it.
Yeah. It's going to gut shot the Delver of Secrets. Max drops to 18. Lauren's debating snagging his own Delver, and he's going to do it.
So, Lauren going down to 19.
That play usually indicates that Lauren doesn't have another creature in his hand.
Mm-hmm.
The rescue play with Vapor Snag, always particularly painful. So Max, no plays here, drops an Island. So now Island, Glacial Fortress, passes the turn to Lauren. Lauren does have Moorland Haunt now. It's the first player with Haunt on the battlefield. Be of very large importance with his double sword.
Yeah, suddenly, every single creature that Lauren plays is
They
a
all
massive
count
threat,
double.
because it can pick up a sword and it can get haunted.
He's
back.
going to cast just the Delver of Secrets there. Looks like he wants to flip it. It's a little mana inefficient. I think it's justifiable because he does not actually have the 4th land. And end step, we're going to gut shot it again. So Lauren, so in theory, he has this play of sword hooking up to Spirit Token, but it takes about 1,000,000 years to actually make it happen. Max is going to have a chance to be the aggro player for a little bit.
Yeah, and I don't necessarily like that play from Lauren. I think you do need to be mana efficient.
Right. Well, especially because Max's game plan here now with this Blade Splicer is, I mean, like, your role's always morphing in this matchup. Max is going to attempt to basically tempo Lauren out of the game now. You know, all it will take is 1 Gut Shot or 1 Snapcaster Mage or 1 Vapor Snag in Max's hand, and Lauren's play of, okay, make a sword. Next turn, make a Haunt token. Next turn, equip Haunt token. To really just blow out that line. So that line is like so fragile that Lauren probably can't take it and actually hope for it to work. So Lauren's going to have to instead fight Max's creatures, which is very hard.
And Lauren did have a Geist of St. Trap in hand, instead chose to pass the turn.
Yeah, the Geist of St. I mean, I'm actually okay with that. Well, he wants the Haunt token, which I would be okay with playing the sword there. I don't really know if I like passing the turn. Problem with Geist of St. Trap here is that it's actually not good enough at racing. Lauren has no real way to push it through. That said, if he really is on the if he's on the sword plan line, the thing is, it doesn't even swing through Max's current board.
Yeah, right now, Lauren's in a little bit of a sticky situation. I think he needs to use his mana more.
Despite the fact that swords are powerful, they are very expensive. So he's going to snap a Vapor Snag at the token, which that's okay. I can get behind that play. So Max will drop to 15 because that play does help the racing. I said if he can't afford to take a mana heavy line, he's gonna have to try to deal with what Max is doing. I think that's what he's doing right now.
Yeah, and I actually really like this line a lot. So now he just goes down to 16.
And the Snapcasters trade. Just takes one point of damage. So now Max, there we go, and it's Mr. Jura enters the battlefield.
Gideon Jura himself.
Remember, the Sword of War and pieces in Lauren's hand, though slow, can push him through this board. Because Gideon Jura is not actually a fast start, it's more of a board control card. It's very powerful, but one thing it doesn't do well is it doesn't tempo very well. Because it doesn't control the tempo of the game. It slows down the tempo of the game, which is more in Lauren's favor. So kind of like Max would have much preferred to play something like a Tamio there. Would have probably been a better Planeswalker, even though typically Gideon Jura is the stronger of the two.
Does Max have a mutagenic growth in his list that he can use so he can bluff?
No, he doesn't.
Oh, okay. So he had a Phantasmal Image anyway.
So instead what he's going to do, he imaged the Geist, and he basically played Gideon as a 6/6 for 5. So Max very correctly recognizing that he has to be he has to go on a tempo strategy here.
Yeah, especially while Lauren is kind of choked on lands here.
Right.
It's really important. Oh, and Lauren is
going to image the Blade Splicer. Lauren trying to keep himself in the game fairly well. He's just has to survive now. He's managed to draw. What I like about the draws, and I'm not trying to say that they're all that fortunate, is that he's found things to do while he builds himself up to 5 mana, and now suddenly the swords are not so bad on your tempo.
So Max here can activate his Gideon again.
Yep, activate Gideon's gonna Superman it over at Lauren. Probably will get a block. Yep. Right there. And remember, our next attack is going to be with Sword of War and Peace. And Max will have to race that card again. It still has been very difficult for him.
It's not an easy thing to do.
He'll pass the turn.
And again, though, if Max has a Vapor Snag here, it's just going to be a huge blowout. He probably just wins the next turn.
The play, I think, where Max may have made a little bit of an error was that turn where he swung into the Vapor Snag Snapcaster. He swung his own Snapcaster Mage, which right now may come back to get him because his Restoration Angels won't be able to Resto Flicker Snapcaster Mage, which actually is stronger on this board state than Restoing the Blade Splicer. So Lauren, all in on the sword plan. All right, equip, swing. Alright, and okay. No mistake at all made. Max Tietze wins the game very handily.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense then.
So, all 5 of our matches here at the Invitational, all 4 of our quarterfinal matches going to, in best of 5, all going to 5.
That's right. Quarterfinals, a full 20 games being played.
Shows just how close these decks are with each other and just how strong these players are. Alright, so last game, looking at your lists, watching them play, prediction error. When we did predictions yesterday at the end of the day, I believe you'd predicted that Max would end up repeating as Invitational Champion.
Yes.
Whereas I had picked Jerry Thompson to run through the top 8. You think Max is on the draw game 3? We know Lauren has kept his Delvers in. Are you sticking to your horse?
I mean, I'll hate myself for doing it, but I feel really bad not rooting for Michael Hetrick at this point. I didn't know that Michael Hetrick had denied the split and that he was the only one that did that. I
don't know that he was the only one who did it.
Okay.
I know at that point it didn't matter because he had said no.
Okay. But I know for a fact that when I'm watching a tournament and they get through, the final rounds and one person is like, I don't want to split, I like rooting for that person. Because that person wants it. That it shows a great deal of if you want to split it away, you're scared on some level, right? That you have to have. There's got to be some and maybe it's just intelligence thinking I'm just gonna play it safe, and playing.
No,
it safe
I think there's nothing. It's not intelligence saying that. Not at all.
It's playing scared.
I mean, the difference is sometimes. Well, I'll do this personality thing. But here's a question: if I asked you, would you like to play a match of Magic for $1,000 today? Most people, okay. And I think that some of the, a lot of people listening at home are like, no, I don't. You might be saying it to yourself. Well, I'll tell you what. I'm going to answer yes to that most of the time. there's a certain category of people, and you'll find them a lot at the Pro Tour who really want to answer yes to that.
Yeah, and I think that's a great thing.
Because
that's what Michael Hetrick said, basically.
Well,
He said, I want to play a match of Magic for $4,000. It's a
$4,000.
terrible matchup for me.
Right. Well, the interesting so there's two.
And he won it.
There's two personalities who say yes to that, and then for example, there's some people I know. First time person is going for the thrill. Yes, I want to play for $4,000. A lot of pros on the tour. Brad Nelson, one of those people, loves the gambling aspect of it. Then there's those people who will sit there and be like, well, I believe I'm 55% to win. Therefore, yes, I shall play for this money. It is a correct expected value issue.
Yes, exactly. Yes, if you're 50% to win, you're a push.
Well, then the question is, can you accurately assess your own skill?
Exactly. However, if you're 55-45, then you have a 10% edge on your opponent, and then every time you play a match of Magic for $10,000 against them, you're winning $1,000.
Sure.
If you get to play infinity times.
All right. So, but in this match, I was saying, would you prefer? Max playing very well here, but he's on the draw. Do you feel like he's going to still pull it out?
I like Max here. And no offense to Lauren, obviously Lauren is a very strong player, making it this far and pushing it to 5 games. I really believe that Max Tietze is an incredible player, and I think he is the stronger of the two players here in this match. And being on the draw is definitely going to put him on the back foot, and I think it does give Lauren a mathematical advantage. But I'm going to say that Max is going to win.
Yeah, I think I feel a little bit of the same way in the matchup. Having watched both of them play it, I feel like Max is a little more comfortable in this matchup. He's playing his list is a slightly techier list, and to me, and I feel like it's because Max has more experience with the deck that he has known how to tech out his list a little bit. I feel like he's just a little more comfortable in the matchup, and for that reason, despite the fact he's on the draw, which is a disadvantage, I also would like him to win this. I feel like I like him to win this one. But the winner of this will be playing against Rodney Rittner in another Delver Mirror. So the question is, you'd better be comfortable in this matchup, because this matchup may be the entire rest of your tournament. Both players presumably though have won many Delver Mirrors to get to this point.
I'm sure they have, yeah. And I'm sure Max piloted Delver at the last Invitational where he won. So plenty of Delver experience.
Sure.
Difficult tournament settings before. And he's probably been PTQing with the deck also.
I would imagine so.
I think I'm going to be PTQing with this deck, the more I think about it. Or maybe I'll just play Rug.
See, and this is what I looked at Twitter for. I want to PTQ. I don't actually... I PTQ with fun decks in the local area. I'm currently not PTQing because I'm already qualified.
Yeah.
But I do still play PTQs. Sometimes I don't know. I really enjoy playing Magic tournaments. Sometimes, if there's a large tournament in town, I'll play it.
Yeah, when I was level 4, I played. Back then, when you were level 5, you weren't allowed to PTQ. So
right.
I wasn't allowed to PTQ when I was level 5. But when I went down to level 4, I was allowed to PTQ. And I remember I did the same thing. Like I played a heartbeat combo deck in like 3 extended PTQs. Yeah. It was terrible.
I remember
it was so much fun.
I mean, you would appreciate this. It was the first PTQ I played in where I was playing for the airfare, and not the queue. Was a modern PTQ, and I decided to play Second Sunrise combo at the PTQ.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Our eggs deck?
Yes, yes, I ran that because it was really fun, and I went 2-2, and then I played it to 4-2, and then I scooped to someone who I thought, a friend who could possibly make it in because he had good breakers and mine were bad, and I was like, oh, that was a great PTQ.
It's a fun deck. You're a mathematician. You probably really appreciate it. That deck has more math involved than probably any other deck ever.
Maybe not any ever, but it does have a lot. That is why I gravitate toward it. It's a giant math problem.
I mean, I have trouble finding another deck that's more, right? The correct play is like super dependent on what's left in your deck and what's
correct.
Like 100% of the time. All your things cost 1 mana, are colorless, and the correct play is different every single time, depending on what's in your deck, what's in your graveyard, and what's in your hand.
I think Scapeshift variant decks can also be very mathy.
That's true.
That would be my only one where I might say I felt similar to on that level. But yeah, both.
Very
Anyway,
fun though. The second
it's a
Sunrise.
very fun deck. What is it? I played a Modern PTQ, and I unfortunately my round 1 pairing was Merfolk.
Oh no.
Has trouble with that.
Not the best matchup.
It's
I'll tell you that Mono Blue Fairies.
also
even
bad.
worse.
Even worse. All right. First,
When it's being played by Gabriel Deceive, even
worse. All right. So Lauren will be on the play here. Both players still resolving mulligans. Looks like they're both keeping. All right, so let's get to some action. Turn 1 on the play, Delver from Lauren Nolen. Remember, those are those cheese you out draws. Max would love to have the gut shot here for it to you know, if the longer this game goes, the better Max is going to feel about it. So he's going to ponder. He doesn't actually have the gut shot yet. Island, sword, something else. I don't believe he has the gut shot. So Lauren, if Lauren can be a master here, he can maybe sneak this game by really fast. He has another. Well, Lauren has another Delver in his hand. I don't know if he has a blue land and a ponder, but that's probably got to be the scariest thing possible. Have you ever seen someone go Delver, second Delver, ponder? You know, you're
yeah, that's
just like, oh no,
not what you want to be.
Oh no, here comes the army. So he has another Seachrome Coast. Another Delver.
It's a Glacial Fortress.
He's going to hang on to the Glacial Fortress so he can make a turn 3 Geist of St. Traft. He does have a Seachrome Coast in addition to that. But he wants to save that to make a turn 3 play. Once again, Max actually this is still a very worrying start for Max.
Yeah, this is really
It's only a matter of time until these guys turn into 3/2s. Actually, if it happens on turn 4 or later, Max is probably okay with it. He'd love to find a gut shot and snap it at both these before they flip.
So, yeah, I mean, if he can find a gut shot and if he has a Snapcaster, then he's going to be fine here. But he needs to do that quickly.
Second land, so I'm not going to ponder. He's going to pass the turn. Upkeep, and then here's moment of truth. And he does, and he finds the ponder. This is very bad for Max.
Yeah, this is going to put Max in a really rough spot.
Okay, he's waiting before he revealed. The ponder's been revealed. He's going to thought scour Lauren, not wanting Lauren to get that.
Tight play by Max there.
Yep, he'd like to find a gut shot, but he knows that he's not going to find it. And now they both... The second one... Is the second one going to flip? No, it's not, so he only gets one of them. So swing for 4 by Lauren will put Max down to 15.
Max has the option of snagging here.
Which I think he's going to do. It's just
Yeah.
This is too much damage too quickly. So if you're Lauren, you have the option of casting a Geist to St. Traft here or the other Delver. But the answer is probably the Geist.
Oh, it's got to be.
Yeah.
I mean, into an empty board. Especially if you have a Vapor Snag in your hand, then it's just very easily the case. But
Max draws another land here. He's still very far behind. He's going to have some answer here. Maybe a Phantasmal Image. He only has 3. Once again, Max a little, maybe a Blade Splicer, but that's got to be uncomfortable feeling, because Vapor Snag would just kill you there.
I mean, a Blade Splicer is risky, but sometimes it's all you really can do.
And Snapcaster Mage getting Ponder. So no, he does. I mean, that is a blocker here for Geist to St. Traft. It looks like 2 lands and a Sun Titan.
That's definitely not what he's looking for.
I don't think he can actually keep that, despite the fact that it has the Sun Titan in it.
Yeah. And at this point, it's a super dangerous situation for him.
He has to hope Lauren doesn't have a kill spell. Lauren, if Lauren has a Vapor Snag, he may not use it on the Snapcaster. Snagging someone else's Snapcaster Mage is really kind of bad.
Oh, never mind. It was not 2 lands and a Sun Titan.
It was a Ponder land and a Titan. Okay, well that's certainly a key.
Yeah, much different.
Sword of War and Peace now drawn for Lauren Nolen. Max is under the gun.
Yeah, I think Lauren's going to going to get this one. He also has a Restoration Angel.
So Lauren then has the option of making the play of attacking with Geist, and when the block occurs, playing Restoration Angel. If he has a 5th land that comes into play untapped, which I believe he does. No, he does not. He does not have a 5th land. I believe probably he'll just run out Sword and Delve. Yeah, well, if he wants to swing, he can just run out Sword and Delver. Otherwise, his other option is to swing Geist and then Restoration Angel the Geist when it gets blocked by Snapcaster Mage.
A reasonable play.
I think actually that's the play I would like him to make, is the Restoration Angel Geist play.
I mean, it just advances your board state, and you also get to like tick Max for 1 with your Delver because you get to send that in and get a free point.
Yeah.
So I mean, Max will go to
Yep,
13
and he's
here.
gonna. That is exactly what Lauren's gonna do, making the Angel token. Max had block. Restoration Angel gets that back. Max takes 5 damage, drops to 13. Lauren will pass the turn. So if Lauren can draw untapped land, yes, Max turns him. The angel is gone now. I think he's at 14 now.
And this is a rough situation.
Rough predicament here for Max Tietze.
Max Tietze, a very powerful wizard. Won the most recent Invitational.
Trying
Now
to go back
here.
to back, fighting for his tournament life here in Game 5 of Delver Mirror against Lauren
2 spots
Nolen.
remaining in a $10 draft. We have 1 spot remaining in a
This game is
standard
looking
winner box.
very dangerous for him at this
Also,
point.
starting at 3, we're going to take registration for our standard sealed event. Entry fee for that is $30. You're going to get 6 packs, 1 from Scars
Probably going to go ahead and
Siege,
Oblivion
Phyrexian,
Ring this Restoration Angel.
Dark Ascension, and
Now Oblivion Ring, you said?
You're going to build a deck.
Alright, Oblivion Ring on Restoration Angel.
Registration starts at 3.
And he's just got to hope that Lauren doesn't have an untapped land. No, it is not. It is a Glacial Fortress. That
Is it?
I believe.
Oh my goodness.
It is a Glacial Fortress.
You're
That
right,
is
it
just
is.
all sorts of bad for Max. And also, yeah, so now, alright, the sword, here comes the sword play. Not even having to think about it. Sword comes in. Sword will equip onto Geist to St. Traft, and that'll crash for all the damage.
Yeah, almost unbeatable.
Remember, Max with no artifact removal. Just with 2 O-rings, but one of them's already just come down and it wasn't on sword. The attack with the team, I'm not sure that the Delver attack is completely necessary here.
Attention Magic players, Lance Kidder, please come to
Yeah, I
the
mean, at this point, I don't know how much it
Lance
matters.
Kidder, please come to
No,
the invitational
I mean,
judge area.
Max
I'd probably
might
hang on to the
take-
Delver in case Max draws a Phantasmal Image, but either way, Max is in a very bad situation. It's going to work out. Max, it looks like Max is going for the chump block here, so. Alright, he will take 5, which drops him down to 8. Yeah, actually, no, sorry, it's a great attack. So Max can't do anything else, and yeah, the Angel will get snagged. So Max only takes 1 damage, drops to 12, Lauren Nolen to 18. Yeah. So apologies there. The Delver swing is definitely fine. Max has his own sort of War and Peace. He's just got to get it linked up.
It's very hard to do though because the Geist is just so much damage.
Yeah, I mean the problem is the Geist will be more damage than whatever Max links his own sword to. So, and the fact that Lauren's already starting at a +6 and a turn life total probably means that even if Max gets his own sword going, it's not going to be enough to matter. Gonna shuffle off the Ponder. In the situation we were talking before, when you're behind and you're shuffling on a Ponder, it's usually a bad sign.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you're the opponent and your opponent keeps when they're behind, you
Yeah,
know,
no,
you know
yeah.
they have what they need. Unless they're bad. Sometimes they keep and then they lose.
Then they
anyway,
don't
and
have it.
you're
You're like, why'd you
How
keep?
did you keep that? Like,
That wasn't what you needed.
well, it couldn't have been any better. It's like, well, why didn't you scoop then?
Alright, so seeing what he gets off it. Max is hoping for a series of phantasmal images and vapor snags. Draws a land. He does have a Sun Titan. You just gotta survive until he gets to the Sun Titan. 3 mana will be for his own Sword of War and Peace. He'll pass the turn. He's getting that out of his hand, which means that he's only right now set to take 4, 8, 9, 10, 11 damage. No, 12. It's 12 damage on the battlefield.
Yep.
Alright. Any effects? Then that will be lethal.
Yep. 3 plus 8 is 11, 12. Yep. And that's it.
Alright, that's it. Lauren Nolen defeats Max Tietze 3 games to 2. All of our matches going to 3 games to 2. He will face Ronnie Rittner in another Delver Mirror next round. So the marathon match, after only